Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I thought we'd do a little Florida Q&A. So it has been a little while since I went on my last Florida trip, but also I have recently booked another Florida trip as well. So what I'm going to do is the first part I'm just going to really quickly talk you through how we booked it and what we've booked. And then I will also go on to looking at the questions that you guys have asked. So I put a post up over on my Instagram, and that is where I'll be taking all the questions from. So yeah, let's jump into it and talk about what we're booked for 2025. Yes, that is right guys, so we have got booked a June 2025 holiday and it is for 16 nights. It is the longest we have ever done and we are both very excited. It will be me and my bestie Simi going back again. So we are very excited for this holiday and we can't wait to be back in the magic. So we have booked through Disney Direct and we have booked with the deal, so it does mean that we have got the modified quick service, which is one quick service meal a day with its drink, and that is because we are staying at a value resort and we are back at the All-Star Resorts again. So I can't wait for that. It would be lovely to stay at a more pricey resort, but actually for me and my best friend, because we spend a lot of time in the parks and out and about, the room is just a room for us, it's for sleeping, so we're not too worried about it. And actually we really like the All-Star Resorts, they're very nice, so as much as staying in like a moderate or a deluxe resort would be really lovely, we're quite happy with our value resorts, so we don't mind that. But yeah, so we're very excited to be going back and I really can't wait. June 2025, oh, it's just going to be so lovely, and yes, like I said, 16 nights, it's the longest we've ever done, so I really can't wait. But let's jump into some of the questions that you guys have asked and we can go through them and have a chat about Florida. Okay guys, so I'm going to have to apologise, but they are on my phone, so I will be reading the question from my phone and then jumping into obviously some of the answers. So let's have a look. Our first question is, what is my favourite attraction? So it's really hard to pick a favourite because I really enjoy a lot of the rides at Disney World, but if we were to go park by park, I think my absolute favourite in Magic Kingdom, let's go for first, was probably either Big Thunder or Seven Dwarfs. I do like them both. I've only ever ridden Seven Dwarfs once, so if you watch my last Florida series vlogs, you'll see me and my real-time reaction of riding that for the first time, and I actually really enjoyed it, so that is a definite favourite of mine. Hopping over to Hollywood Studios, it's going to have to be Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Close second is then going to be Rise of the Resistance. I'm not a massive Star Wars fan, but I really did enjoy that ride. It was so cool and so amazing. Then Animal Kingdom, it will always be Flight of Passage, no questions asked. I absolutely love it. Followed by close second with Dinosaur. Really do enjoy Dinosaur, it's a great fun ride, and I'll be sad to see it being rethemed, but I don't know, change is good, so we've got to embrace it. And then finally over at Epcot, I think I have to say my favourite is probably Test Track, and then Frozen, probably in second place. So yeah, they are my favourite rides that are over in Walt Disney World. Okay, so sticking to the ride theme, the next question is, what is my favourite non-ride attraction? And that's really hard, but I'm actually going to say, potentially, if you don't call this a ride, PhilharMagic, Mickey's PhilharMagic over in Magic Kingdom. I just think it's such a fun little experience. I think we only did it on our second trip. We missed it on the first trip and it was great fun, so I really enjoyed that. I also enjoyed, in June 2022, we did the I can't remember the name of the boat now, but the one that goes around Big Thunder. I really enjoyed that. It's Tom Sawyer's Island. Oh my goodness me. Not Big Thunder. Big Thunder is in Disneyland Paris, where it goes around it. But yes, where it goes around Tom Sawyer's Island. I really enjoyed it. It's a really relaxed boat ride. Kind of gets you a bit of a breeze, and there's a good 20 minutes of just chilling out. Next up, the question was, what is my favourite time of day at the park? So I'm going to have to say golden hour. So I love those early evening hours when it starts to cool down a little bit. You've got the sun setting over the parks, everything just glows in this magnificent orange colour. I just love it. It really just seems so magical and so beautiful. Vice versa, I also really enjoy the mornings, and if you're out there where the sun is rising and you're still in the park, that is amazing. I think going back to my 2019 trip, the most amazing experience that we had was when they actually had the park open at really early in the morning. I'm sure it was open from like 5 or 6 in the morning for the opening of Rise. So we actually went and utilised those early morning hours so that we could basically get a lot of the park done. And it was amazing because like going to see the sun rise over Hollywood Studios was so much fun. So I really, really enjoyed that. And then the next question was, how many park days would you recommend per park? So for me, I would say Magic Kingdom, you need at least 2 days, 2 good days to be able to get it done. And that would be park open to park close, because there's lots of little attractions within Magic Kingdom, lots of shows, lots of meets, things like that. So I would say 2 days for Magic Kingdom. Then thinking about Animal Kingdom, now it depends on how you want to do this. If you're purely going for the rides, then I would say 1 day. However, Animal Kingdom is just so magical to be able to explore, and there's so much going on with like the nature trails and stuff like that. So if you really want to do Animal Kingdom properly, then I would say you need a good 2 days there. Hollywood Studios, I would say probably a day and a half so that you can get it done, because again, there's lots of shows and things like that you can watch. So if you want to prioritise those sorts of things, then obviously giving a day and a half will allow you time to do all the rides as well as the shows as well. And at Epcot, I would say 2 days, but that's if you want to take your time walking around the World Showcase, looking all the pavilions, seeing what they have to offer. I love looking at all their shops and stuff. It's always quite interesting to see, but you could potentially do Epcot in a day. It just depends, but I'd say a good 2 days for that one as well. Okay, just hopping back to the ride questions very quickly. I had a question of what is worth queuing. So like when they've got really long wait times, what is actually worth queuing for? Me personally, I would say that Mickey and Minnie's is worth queuing for. I really do enjoy it. It's such a clever ride. Rise of the Resistance, absolutely worth queuing for. For me, Flight of Passage, I think that is such an incredible ride. I'm blown away by it every time I ride it. So I would say that is definitely worth queuing for. I'll go on to like the controversial side of things. So rides that I don't think are worth queuing for. Seven Dwarfs. I mean, it was a really good ride, but it was over in seconds. So definitely would say maybe doesn't need a long queue, that one. Navi River Journey, again, visually spectacular, but I don't think you really should queue for a very long time for it. Dinosaur, love it, but really not worth a long queue, and 90% of the time I have been there, it's had like a walk on or like a 5-10 minute wait. So yeah, if it's like a long wait, I would say don't worry too much about it, because usually, especially in the morning or towards the evening, that queue seems to quieten down a bit in my experience. But again, I've only been a handful of times in reality, so please don't take my word. There are so many good like advice faces out there. So yeah, do your research is the best thing to say, but they are some of my opinions regarding rides and their wait times. The next question is, which is my favourite park and why? So it is really hard to choose like my favourites, and when I talk about my favourites, they're like this, like, you know, like you've got like 1 to 10, like mine are like this all crammed up together. So my absolute favourite park will always hands down be Animal Kingdom. It is such a beautiful park. I really enjoy being there, the atmosphere, like it's home to one of my absolute favourite rides, if not favourite ride, Flight of Passage. So I really, really love it. And fun fact, on our last trip, we actually got to ride top row on Flight of Passage, and it was an experience. Like, it was so good, the best ride we've ever had on it. So yeah, for me, I really enjoy Animal Kingdom. Then followed after that is probably Magic Kingdom. Again, I love my magic, I love the castle, I love the atmosphere of the park and how much there is to do there. Next up would be Epcot, and then finally Hollywood Studios. And I'm not like diminishing the parks, I love them so much, I love them all like stupid amounts. However, they just like, that's where it comes for me. I do enjoy the World Showcase, I really enjoy wandering around it, but it is a very hot park and there's not huge amounts of seating. However, now that they've opened up the hub, I will be interested to see whether my opinion of that changes, because there is more seating area, and yeah, I'm excited to see all of that. Following on from Epcot and talking about Epcot, a question was asked, which is my favourite Epcot festival? And I'm going to have to say, so I've only experienced 2 of the 4 festivals that happen at Epcot at the moment. So I have experienced Flower and Garden, and I have also experienced Food and Wine. Now for me, I am much more a Flower and Garden Festival person. I think Epcot looks stunning with all the flowers out and all the topiaries, and I love being there during Flower and Garden so much. I'm really hoping that when we're there next year that we will be able to experience Summer Flower and Garden. However, I do know that they shortened it by quite a bit this year, because I think the previous year it kind of all rolled like a rolling festival, so there was different ones but for pretty much most months of the year. However, this year I believe that the Flower and Garden is ending towards the end of May, and then the actual Food and Wine Festival isn't starting till August. So yeah, but for me that's the one that I enjoy the most. I think it's visually stunning, and I just really enjoy being there. I also love the fact that they have a basin set up in there, so you can go and like try out all their products and stuff. So that is one of my favourite festivals over at Epcot. Now, I have been asked what is my favourite time of year to visit Disney World. Well, hands up, I've only ever visited in 2 seasons. So I have visited in June, and I'm about to visit in June again, and I've visited in October. Now, I love October. The weather is perfect in October. It's warm but not too unbearably hot, although we did have a few really hot days in this October just gone. And I love the Halloween season. I love the Halloween party. I just think it's so much fun. But I also equally love June and the hot weather and just like the summer. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Now, when we went in June 2022, we didn't actually have any of these days where they had like the downpour in the middle of the day that usually comes in the summer season, but we did have one day of full-on torrential rain and we were soaked through. So that is something to bear in mind, and obviously the humidity is a lot higher in the June months than it is in the October months. So again, if humidity is something that plays into like whether you think you'd enjoy the weather and that, then it is something really to consider. And obviously as you kind of head through the May months all the way until the end of August, beginning of September, it is going to be really, really, really hot. So make sure you're packing things like your fans, your cooling towels, lots of water and that to drink as well, because it is so warm. Now, I'd love to be able to go and potentially experience the January, February time, especially as they have Festival of the Arts on over in Epcot. So yeah, that is something that maybe in the future I'd love to do, and obviously Christmas. But yeah, so they are the months that I have visited in my personal experience. June has been very, very warm. It can be unbearably hot. You do need a hell of a lot of sunblock. But yes, I still really enjoyed going in June and cannot wait to go back in June. Okay guys, so the next question is, what are my top 5 tips for Disney World? So 1, drink plenty and stay cool. So even if you are heading, I would say probably from March onwards to about the November time, you can have really hot days. So just have your fans, have your cooling towels, have water on you. Make sure you stay hydrated, stay in the shade, do a bit of aircon hopping if you need to, because the more you get into the summer months, the hotter it gets, the more humid it gets, and you've really got to look after yourself, especially if you're going from the UK and you're not used to the really, really hot temperatures that you can get over there. Sometimes you can feel quite ill, so just look after yourself, stay hydrated and make sure you stay cool. My next tip would be, have fun and don't put too much pressure on yourself to like, you must do this, you must do that. I know that Disney World is not really a relaxing holiday as such. It is a very full-on, day-to-day, pretty intense holiday. So actually taking that time to recognise when you feel tired, when you need to rest, when you need to have that break, and not putting the pressure on yourself to think, oh, but I haven't done this, that and the other. You will have time to do those things. Just take that step back if you need to. Recognise when you need those rest days, otherwise you will stop enjoying it, and that's not what you want. And especially if you've got little ones, if you need to go back in the middle of the day, especially in the summer months, to have a nap and let them recharge, absolutely do it, because at that point then you're going to make it yourself have a more enjoyable experience. It's always been really sad seeing like these really tired hot children who get really upset and overwhelmed by being there. So actually going, you know what, we're going to step away from the park and like go home, well not go home, but go back to the hotel, recharge, and then go back in the evening when it's cooler and you're going to have happy children, then actually that is going to work out a lot better for you. My next tip kind of goes against the last one, but plan a bit. So I'm not talking minute for minute, but just kind of know those things that you really do want to get done so that you can prioritise them where you need to. So if meeting the princesses is something that you want to do, then make sure you're looking up and seeing where those princesses are meeting and potentially times. Now it's not all advertised, however there's lots of cast members that you can talk to and ask to be able to get those things and like know what you need to be able to achieve those things that you really want to get done. And the other thing is make sure you're planning your dining as well. So I'd say especially in some of the months it's really hard to eat a lot when you're hot, so you might only have like 2 meals a day. So really consider like the planning of that timing and when you have those meals, because there's nothing worse, especially in the heat of the summer, getting to a nice sit down buffet meal and then you can't eat half of it because you're so hot and you just don't want to eat, you just want to drink. That's me personally, I'm that sort of person. So we recognise that actually we might snack in the middle of the day and then have a big breakfast and a big dinner instead. So that is another one of my tips. Then my fourth tip would be make sure you make a list of those snacks that you want, because I am obsessed with Disney snacks, and I can tell you now the amount of times I've forgotten to eat things because I haven't made a list of what I want to eat and try. It's a bit crazy. So yeah, make a list of those. I will definitely be taking that tip for my next one. And my fifth tip is dress comfy. Now I know that a lot of my Instagram shows me in like these pretty dresses and pretty outfits, but I always ensure that whatever I am wearing I am comfortable in. So I always have a really good pair of walking shoes, because you're obviously going to be doing a lot of walking while you're there. I always wear like cycling shorts and things like that underneath, so that I'm quite comfortable, because obviously like in the heat, it's not nice to chafe, we all know it, it all happens, we're normal, we're human. So my cycling shorts are my saviour, and I always make sure that I am putting my sun cream on several times a day, because I burn like a little tomato and I go bright red. So yeah, they are my top 5 tips. Now the next question is, what would I rope drop at Magic Kingdom? Now I'm going to be a bit weird on this one, and I'm actually going to say I don't rope drop as such in terms of I'm going to the most popular ride that gets the longest queue. I actually utilise that time where people aren't wanting to ride certain rides to be able to get in doing as many as I possibly can. So for example, I might go off and do Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin. There's the words. So I do the Buzz ride, then I might do the People Mover. Usually at that time in the morning you've then got a fairly low queue on Space Mountain, so like you kind of combine the 3 together. Then I might move on and do like the Little Mermaid ride, and then work my way round and potentially do some of like the smaller rides like Haunted Mansion, Winnie the Pooh, all the littler rides that tend to get bigger queues as the day goes on, because then what I do is I utilise the time in the middle of the day when it's really hot to have some really chilled time. So I might go and watch like Mickey's PhilharMagic, we'll go and sit down, get a drink, utilise the aircon, and it also means that you've got that time that you've got as much done as possible, so that if you then decide, you know what, I need to go back to the hotel in the afternoon when it gets really hot in those summer months to rest up a little bit, then you can. Some people also tend to go and do some resort hopping in the area as well, so that's a good time to do that. Also another good time in terms of riding rides is actually during the parade. So if you've seen it one day and you don't really want to see it again, then actually that can be a really good time to actually go and jump on some of those rides as well. So things like Pirates, Aladdin's Carpets, what else? Jungle Cruise maybe, but all of those rides, then you can kind of get them done while the kind of crowds are waiting and watching the parade. Another tip as well, especially with the parade, is to actually, if you're not bothered about where you sit for it, go at the start of the parade. So it comes out, I can't remember exactly where it is, but I know that it's in the kind of adventure type area, and it comes out of there. So actually, if you watch it at the beginning, well, everybody else is still watching things, so you can then utilise that area to get some of the rides done. So that is my top tip in terms of like rope drop, but I would say the same for all the other parks as well, to do the littler things, because then you can get lots done as well. A question that came up quite a lot for me, and I've had quite a lot in the past as well, is what is in my park bag. And I think soon I will do like an updated what is in my park bag, especially when you've got things like Disneyland Paris and Disney World. They do kind of vary, but for Disney World specifically, I will always have my fan without a question. I will always have some medication. So for me, I have my IBS medication. I then have some form of pain relief, my migraine relief as well, so that I don't have to worry about going back to the hotel for things like that. I will always carry some plasters as well, just in case, but I tend to wear really comfortable shoes that I know that aren't going to cause me any problems. I have my spare batteries for my camera. I also have my purse with my money in, as always. A poncho as well, especially in those rainy months. That is an absolute must for me. And I think that's about it, but I will go into it in more detail, but they are like the main things that I will always have in my bag. Oh, and like a little stabiliser for my camera as well. But yes, so they are the main things that I have in my personal park bag. I would also recommend snacks if you get really hungry, especially if you are quite indecisive. I am really indecisive when it comes to food. So then if you get hangry, you can snack and then decide where you want to go and eat. Next up is, do I ever eat at Disney Springs? Well, yes, I love Disney Springs. I do have a favourite spot in Disney Springs, so it is Blaze Pizza, and it is hands down some of the best pizza you will ever eat in your entire life. The pizza there is great. You can create your own. They've got loads of sides. They've also got this really gorgeous lemonade that they do. It's like, I think it's like a blood orange lemonade, and it is so gorgeous. I could drink litres of it. But that is my favourite spot. Now, I would like to, on our next trip, especially since we've got 16 nights, to maybe try somewhere different within Disney Springs, and spend a bit of a night there, because I don't think we've actually spent the night and like enjoyed the nightlife of Disney Springs since 2019. So that will be really good to do. That same person also asked if I've ever had the kitchen sink sundae, and the answer is no, I haven't. I would love to try that one day. But yes, in terms of me having that, no. And I don't think I could stomach it, because I'd have to eat it on my own, because my friend's dairy intolerant. So yeah, I think that would be quite a mission for me on my own. Now, I've been asked what is my favourite snack at Disney World. So I have to say I've got two top favourites. Well no, I lie, I have three. Yeah, I've got three. So number one is the funnel cake. I had it for the first time on my last trip, and I cannot tell you guys how good that funnel cake is. Like, it was so delicious. So I really enjoyed that. Another one that I really enjoy is the pineapple Dole Whip float. It has to be the float because it's so good, like literally the best. Although on my last trip I decided to opt for just the Dole Whip, and it was a really funny story actually, because I was stood there waiting, and this poor lady next to me was having some real issues trying to pay, and I was just standing there patiently with my card out ready to pay, and I think the poor cast member was just like, she's waited long enough at this point, so she went, "Have a nice day," and I went, "Oh, okay," and she was like, "Yeah, have a nice day," and I went, "I've got to pay." She went, "No, you don't." So I got given a Dole Whip for free, so I was very grateful for that, and it tasted even better because free Dole Whip. And then my third and final favourite treat is the Mickey cereal treats. I could eat them like they're going out of fashion, but who doesn't love marshmallow covered Crispies? So yeah, I love them. They're so good. Now I've been asked what are my favourite places to eat. So I'll just bring up a couple because it's really hard to choose some of my favourites, there's so many. However, I really enjoyed Cinderella's Royal Table for breakfast. That was some of the best food that I've ever eaten. Garden Grill for lunch was absolutely delicious, seriously good food there. Ohana's dinner was really lovely. I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I'd love to go back and do it again someday. Really loved the food there. In terms of breakfast, I think I've only done, oh no, I lie, I did Garden Grill for breakfast in 2019 and I really enjoyed that as well. Where else? Yak and Yeti as well over at Animal Kingdom. I really enjoyed the food there. So we had the sit down tables, but they do have a little quick service as well, so that is something I think we should definitely do on our next trip because I really enjoyed there. And their wok fried green beans, so good. Oh, and Blaze Pizza if we're talking Disney Springs, because that is to die for. Such good pizza. And next up is who's the best character I've ever met. I don't think, except for my Baymax meet in 2019, I don't think I've ever had a bad character meet. I always love meeting Winnie the Pooh and the gang. That is always fantastic. I really enjoyed Cinderella's Royal Table because the interaction with the princesses there was amazing. Chip and Dale are always fantastic to me. I really love meeting them, and obviously the main mouse himself, Mickey, is one of my absolute favourites to meet as well. But I just love meeting any of the characters. I always think it's such good fun, and like I said, I've never had a bad experience. I really enjoy it. Next up is where do I buy my holidays from, and I buy mine direct from Disney. I kind of touched on this a little bit in the beginning, but for me and my bestie, it's just where it works out the cheapest. So I have shopped around, I've looked at many different places to see whether I can get better deals elsewhere, but for us it just worked out cheaper there. And also I love the fact that with a hotel and park tickets only holiday, you can put a £50 deposit per person down, so it's really affordable, and then you've got plenty of time to be able to pay off that lump sum. So our lump sum won't be due until the April time of next year, so it gives us a really long time to be able to save and ensure we pay that off. We also book our flights separately. I will book those probably direct with Virgin. I usually only fly either Virgin or British Airways. It just depends on who's cheaper at the time or more affordable. So yeah, I just kind of keep my eyes on that. I tend to try and book those in the sales, but I also look when they come out because sometimes you can get some really good deals when they first come out as well. So that is how I book my holidays. If anyone wants more details and things like that, please feel free to message me, and I'll just explain my reasonings a bit more as to why I do that. Now, somebody asked me, do I have any useful tips for being able to save for Disney? Now, I tend to not spend money on anything other than Disney. I do purchase things for myself, but I try my best to put away as much as I can each month. I have extra, and if I have extra I'll put that away as well, but I just try to save as much as I can per month where I'm not living, if you get me. So for me, I just put away whatever I can, and just focus on the fact that I know that I've got those Disney holidays booked. I don't really go out anywhere. I don't really do much outside of like my work and just seeing my family and my bestie and a couple of other friends. So I don't really do a huge amount, which is probably why I end up saving so much, but I'm okay with that. So for me that works well, and that's how I save. The next question is, what is my favourite thing to do? And that's very broad, so I'm going to go broad on this one. And I actually really enjoy shopping when I'm in America. So I love going to places like Target, I like going to Walmart. I really enjoy Walmart. Walmart's great. I really enjoy going to places like the Florida Mall and the outlets. Next time I want to go to this antique mall. So there's so much like outside of just Disney that I really enjoy doing as well. So yeah, and I will definitely on my next trip film some of those shopping days for you guys, so you can kind of see a little insight as to what we do on those days. And also I really want to try the water parks maybe for one day on our next trip, because I think that would be really good fun too. And then the final question I've had is in Disney World, do characters roam like they do in some of the other parks? And the answer is no, not really. I have seen a few people who have bumped into the princesses behind the castle during the fireworks show, and at that point they're kind of roaming, and sometimes you may bump into a character as they're walking from location, so they might be going to their meet or leaving their meet, so you might bump into them then, but they're not really going to stop for an interaction. Most of the characters have a designated place where they would meet with a line that follows. They're not just wandering around, and I think that is probably due to the sheer volumes of crowds that can go into Disney sometimes, and actually keeping those characters safe and looking after them as well. But yes, it would be lovely if that was a thing. I remember when I was younger, that's how you used to meet the characters, like being 6 years old and bumping into Donald. It was amazing. However, I do understand why it's not so much a thing now, and sometimes the lines for the characters can be really short, so please don't be put off by them. I've seen like not even like a 5-minute wait sometimes for some characters, but yeah, it's just about planning your times to meet them and just assessing who you want to meet as well, so you're kind of aware of where that character may pop up in the park. But yes, as for roaming, no, they do not. So I hope you guys enjoyed my kind of little trip talk at the beginning there and answering some of your questions regarding Florida. If you have any other burning questions, please feel free to put them in the comment box below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can and see if I can answer those questions for you. I am by no means an expert on Walt Disney World. This will be my 4th trip next year, so I am very much looking forward to it, but I've still got a lot that I need to learn about Disney World myself as well. But I am here to help you wherever I can, because I do a lot of research into things to make sure that my trip runs as smoothly as possible. So if I can help do the same for you, then I absolutely will. But for now, thank you so much for watching all the videos on my little channel. Don't forget, if you're really having the Disney blues, I've got my little Orlando playlist from our trip in October, so that's always a good watch, and we're halfway to Halloween, so that's always even better because it puts you in this kind of spooky mood. But yes, so thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all your support, every like, comment, subscription, all of it. It means the world to me. But if you are enjoying and you're new to this channel, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and if you want to know every time I upload, hit the little notification bell in the corner, and it will give you a little notification when I've uploaded. But for now guys, I will see you real soon. Bye.